Most Scots or tourist visitors to Edinburgh must have wandered through Princes Street Gardens. It's a fantastic setting in the heart of the capital. But it hasn't always been like that. So if you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen and hit the thumbs up at the end to let YouTube know if you've enjoyed this video. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. These days, Princes Street Gardens are all historic statues, picnic lunches and tourist walks. But from prehistory to the garden's formation, there was grinding geology, harsh realities and brutal truths. So today, I'm going to walk you through that tough timeline before placid parkland. It started with extremes of volcanic heat and glacial freezing. I can't count the number of times I've heard somebody say, "Oh yes, Edinburgh Castle is perched on top of a volcanic plug." But they never say what a volcanic plug is. Way back in the day, long before Edinburgh was ever thought of, all this was part of a huge volcano. Now, there would be bits where molten rock would rise up through the gaps in the Earth's crust and then cool to form dense, you might even say rock hard, igneous rock. It was certainly harder than some of the rock round about it, through which it had seeped and then solidified. Millennia later, there were ice ages with miles high moving glaciers. And as a huge glacier swept in this direction, eroding and dragging rock with it, it couldn't move the harder volcanic plug and had to be satisfied with going round either side and gouging out valleys from the softer rock round about it. That left us a crag ready for an Iron Age hill fort, medieval castle and modern tourist attraction in later years, and a rocky tail called the Royal Mile, sloping all the way down to Holyrood Park so that drama students and street performers could cause congestion every August, just like God or Slarty Bartfast intended. What we know as Princes Street Gardens is the valley scratched out to the north side of that volcanic plug, with the Grassmarket and Cowgate similarly etched out to the south. By medieval times, that castle and Royal Mile thing were well established, and there was a wall known as the King's Wall, going from the castle south and then west and then round again to the north, protecting Edinburgh on three sides. Here was a marshy valley with a stream running through it called the Tummel Burn. Now, there's a phrase that kept cropping up in relation to how things changed. In 1460, King James III ordered the Hollow to be flooded in order to complete the defences of the town and Edinburgh Castle. James III wanted to create a man-made loch to protect Edinburgh here on the north by building a dam across the Tummel Burn, roughly where the North Bridge is now. Now that does make sense. 1460 was during the English War of the Roses, and Scottish decisions about which horse to back along with continuing English occupation of Roxburgh Castle meant that tensions were rising. But if James III gave the instruction in 1460, it must have been pretty late in the year, because James III wasn't crowned until the 10th of August, after his dad, James II, was killed besieging the English in Roxburgh Castle on the 3rd of August. So James III may have ordered the flooding that created this artificial loch to the north side, but if he did show that foresight, it was just before his 10th birthday. Whether the Norloch, as it would be called, was created on the instructions of James or his guardians, it was now a protective feature on the north of the town. Now, if you're thinking the loch would provide even better protection if it was filled with something really scary and dangerous, then you'll be delighted to know that over the following centuries, the combination of lack of sanitation, rainwater and open sewers meant that what ended up in the Norloch was both scary and dangerous to health. Now, the custom of ducking women in the water and using their survival to decide whether they should be burned as witches was horrific. But in Edinburgh, it was pretty shitty as well. And it wasn't great for so-called scales of justice. The loch was so clogged up with the population's waste that it was difficult to get anything to sink in it, let alone witches. But the Norloch wasn't just used to judge the guilt of witches. Drowning was also a form of execution. Now, on the other side of this footbridge, when the council havenae padlocked it up, are the ruins of the Well House Tower. From before the flooding of the Norloch, that tower protected the source of fresh water that supplied the castle above. But when workmen were digging drainage near here in 1820, they found the skeletal remains of a brother and sister who had drowned in the stench of the Norloch almost 200 years before. George Sinclair and his two sisters had been found guilty of committing incest in 1628, and they were sentenced to death. Whilst the sentence of the younger sister was commuted, Sinclair and the older sister were put in a chest with holes drilled in it and thrown into the loch to drown. Whilst the Norloch saw the demise of women accused of witchcraft and siblings accused of incest, its own demise was on its way. The stench of everything from waste, personal and commercial, dumped, drained, or washed into the loch was replicated in the very place from which it had been washed. The Rock of Edinburgh, where gadgies and gentry lived cheek by jowl, producing the putrid stench that pervaded the place. I maybe went a bit far with the alliteration, but you get the point. In the late 1700s, the east end of the loch was drained as they built a bridge to take folks out of the north side of the town, the North Bridge. Hanoverians had dispatched Jacobites, and walls seemed less necessary. Why not build a new town on the north side of the loch, where lawyers, doctors, middle class and gentry could escape the stench of Edinburgh's old town? The streets would be laid out in a grid to reflect modern Enlightenment rational thinking. We'll give the streets good Hanoverian names. Frederick, Hanover, George, the Princes, and the Thistle and the Rose. Yes! You can get to the new town by the North Bridge, but hold on, suggested Provost John Grieve. Couldn't we take the 1.5 million cartloads of earth excavated from the foundations of the new town and dump them across the Norloch to create a route for merchants to take their wares back and forward to this new town? What, a mound of earth, they said. Why, yes! That's what we'll call it. The mound. So the Norloch was drained in stages from the east to the west from the late 18th century into the 19th century, at the same time as the new town developed to the north. And the new gardens that now take up 37 acres laid out here between the old town and Princes Street, split in two by the mound, created over millennia by moving ice and grinding rock, by military design in human detritus by Enlightenment change and Victorian development has become that wonderful place of peace and colour in the midst of the city, filled with memorials and monuments. Let me know in the comments section if you'd like me to make a video going round the monuments in the gardens here to let you know what they're about. Or should I be making more videos about Glasgow? In the meantime, if you'd like to know more about Edinburgh, there's a video that you really should watch coming up on screen now. Support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member or buy me a coffee in the description below. In the meantime, ha mé an dáchas gon bí láma life. Chéirí an drasta.